Hello, Girl Gang. This is Amber Vargas, founder of Girl Pursuit, and this is episode 27. Our episode for today is about awareness and teaching children about their spidey senses and hypervigilance, and how I know that from what I have been through, hypervigilance has become something of a superpower for myself. It unfortunately comes with the trauma and the experiences that I have gone through. And what I'm trying to do different is teaching my children that awareness is something that is good for them. Awareness is something that it needs to be embedded in how they interact and go about their day. And unfortunately, in this day and age, and even when I was a kid, this was not something that you could just take lightly or kind of be la di da throughout walking down the road, taking a walk, walking your dog, taking the trash out. I'm always hyper vigilant with my children because unfortunately the world can be real cruel and is unkind, because no matter what, there's always someone that could be a tricky person, an unsafe person. And it's not just adults that are like that. There also could be kids that are unfortunately coerced to do things and act out things to help abduct or capture or do all the insane, intrusive thought things to children and adults alike. And I am so passionate about talking about the uncomfortable. It's so many times in life and just everything that we go through and all the life experiences and the people you meet, and people just don't talk about the things that make you feel uncomfortable. And that's what makes me feel so more compelled to talk about it, right? So being present enough to be aware of your surroundings. I'm teaching my kids this because I'm teaching them to trust their intuition. I'm letting them know that if something feels off, lean into that. That's your intuition. That's your gut telling you something's up. Something doesn't feel right. So it is not a bad thing. It is a superpower. And I know that as I was growing up, constantly scanning for like danger because I knew the world wasn't safe, or I always just had this about me, this oomph about me that my mother would like send me. I've talked about this before on a podcast, and here we go. I'm always like hopping back and forth, and maybe you can listen to that episode of like my mom sending me out when I was like 10 years old, 10 years old, to just go run to the market to get tomatoes and onions because she knew that Amber was someone that no one wanted to mess with because I was hyper vigilant, or I was just always aware of my surroundings. Unlike my sister, who's a couple of years older than me, if she had to go, and my mom would tell her like, go run and just grab that because I have to prepare dinner, and she would send me with her. And I remember being so like pissed off always, like, why does no one go with me? Like, what? So like my mom already knew that way back when, that Amber just had this fight in her. This, I'm not going to let anything happen to me. I was going to be a relentless, fierce girl, right? Embracing that fire inside me. Like I had this fire in me that I was not going to take any bull. And unfortunately, my sister was not like that. And obviously there was that most likely fear or anxiety of her being coerced or something's up. But just teaching that to my children now and just coming full circle on that, like understanding of why it actually matters. It matters because it's not anxiety driven, right? Like when you teach it to your children and you teach it in a way where they know that, hey, around me, and again, for example, for my daughter, I tell her, hey, what's around you? So what's behind you? And I'll say it like in a your body bubble. So talking about like personal space and body bubble, like what's behind you? And we're standing in her room, and I say, just tell me what's behind you without looking. And she'll tell me what it is. Sometimes she'll get it wrong. And I say, that's you being aware. That's you being aware of your surroundings. That's what I talk about, and that's what I tell you. Always be aware of your surroundings. So if something does happen, you know, hey, the window was to my left. Hey, the door was to my right. The bed is behind me. Mom is in front of me. Why do I teach that? Because awareness is key. So many experts, so many people that teach about what is it, protectiveness, of being aware of yourself. Like everyone teaches this. That's like literally the first tool that we should have. Forget even learning any kind of art, like martial arts, jujitsu, taekwondo, karate, anything. What's the first thing that everybody teaches you? Awareness. And then that goes along with so much stuff of just daily, day-to-day tasks that we do, that we try to teach our children. All right, this is what I'm going to teach you so you can be successful in life. I set you up for success. Is be aware, be mindful. What do I say when I say, hey, be mindful of your body? Be aware of your body. Be aware of what you're doing. Be aware of your surroundings. And that is not something that is coming from fear. That's not trying to drive any kind of anxiety or exhausting anyone. No, it's preparing them, setting them up for success, reading the room, sensing energies, noticing what's off. That's skill. That is not something that is fear. We can set up our children to have a mindset of just being aware of what's around them. How is that not a super beneficial thing to have? In any situation, in anything, you need to know who's here, what's the energy, what feels safe. Trusting the gut. If something feels off, then it probably is. This is all the tools that we need to give our children so they can succeed in life. These are the tools that we need, reminders, so we can be aware and we know what to do when something may happen. Or something doesn't have to be so drastic or so dramatic to be aware of something. Do you get what I'm saying? Like your body, you don't have to be polite when you're uncomfortable, right? Like safety matters more than manners. And your body gives you signals. Your tightening of your chest, the pit in the stomach, the hair standing up, like when you get your goosebumps. Pay attention to all that. That is your body telling you something's up. These are real world applications that you should be in tune with. Be in tune with your body. Be aware that if a stranger's approaching you, what is your body telling you? If a friend's house is feeling weird, you can ask to leave. If an adult's asking you to keep a secret, red fucking flag, tell a trusted adult. Or even when a child is telling you to keep a secret for an adult or has like some underlying meaning. Yes, some secrets, we can dive into that and get really, that's another thing. It's like, it could get tricky where it's like kids tell secrets, but it's like, but it's not really secrets because secrets are not told, and that's just not safe. It's usually surprises, and that's what we do in our house. Again, said this in another podcast, where we keep surprises in our family. We don't keep secrets. And this is the gift that we need to give our children. Kids that trust their spidey senses, they're harder to manipulate. They don't override their discomfort just to be good, quote unquote good. Do you understand what I'm saying? They have this internal compass that can guide them, and not just external rules to follow. Let that land for a moment, and I will repeat it. They have this internal compass that will guide them in life, instead of just seeking external rules or just watching or waiting for an external rule to be given so they can follow it. Right? How profound is that? Now, teaching this, like naming what you notice. So like, I know I do this. I model that behavior. And I notice, like, when I notice that a person seems upset, I wonder what's going on. right? Like if the room feels loud and chaotic, like how does the body feel? Or I'm getting a funny feeling. Let's pay attention to that. Validating observation. So that comes into play with also breaking that generational cycle of validating the feeling that your child is feeling. And it's so hard to do that in that moment because your anxiety is taking over, because you don't want to hear it, because you weren't giving the space. You weren't being, the space was not held for you to feel your feelings. So it's so hard for you to validate the observation that you have of your child. But you know it's there, it's in the forefront of your brain, right? Like it's right there telling you, like, your child is scared, or your child did not like what you did. You told them something in a rude manner, or you scolded them when it really wasn't a big deal. You could have just translated that in a softer, calmer, more patient way. So observing. When someone says, like, hey, this person seems mean, don't dismiss that. And I've practiced that with my son when he says, hey, this boy called me an idiot in class. And it's like, well, okay, so that's obviously mean because he literally said something to you. Don't dismiss that. That's someone that's trying to project their insecurities onto you because you know you're not an idiot. And then saying of things like, what made you notice that? Tell me more. This is their Spidey senses developing, and they're letting you know, and you honor that. Honor them, honor that. Appreciate that. Validate it. And I practice the scenarios all the time. I have done it, like I just explained how, just asking my daughter as I'm brushing her hair, and I just say, hey, what's behind you? Hey, what's in front of you? Hey, what is it that you know what's going on? So you just be aware of your body, aware of your surroundings, because you always should just be aware. And then always using that, hey, if somebody comes up to you and if they say, I have a lost puppy, can you come help me find my lost puppy? What do you do? Right? I've played this scenario so many times with my children, and it's like, no safe adult would ask you that. I have a good friend that told me that term of like a safe adult would go to another safe adult. And if a grown-up tells you, hey, keep this secret from mom, what do you do? If your tummy feels weird around someone, what do you do? Like, these are scenarios without making it super dramatic or like getting deep into it, feeling for the child of how like they're interacting. If they're cool, calm, and collected, and all their needs are met, these are things for sure to try out and to practice with your children. Why not? If we don't set them up for success, what's the point of parenting in this positive way of making sure that our children are better than who we are? And I've always said this too, and my child's always like, why do you keep saying that to me, Mom? Like, I need to be better than you. And I was like, because you will be better than me. Because you will be better than me. And this is just my anxiety, or just my hope and even fear of like not making sure that I don't pass down some real severe trauma, right? Generational trauma. So teaching the fear and the difference, right? The difference between fear and awareness. Fear is emotion that clouds judgment. Awareness is information that informs the decision. It's data. We're not scared. I'm not teaching my children to be scared of people. I'm just teaching them to pay attention to energy, pay attention to the room, pay attention to their surroundings. Awareness is a skill, guys. It is not just a trauma response. You can teach your kids to read the room, trust their gut, and notice energy without making them anxious. You can do it. And Spidey senses on. I always say that with my kids. Spidey senses on, because we have to be relevant, right? With things that make sense to them and it's playful. Spidey senses are protective. Kids who trust their intuition are safer because they listen to their internal signals and not those external rules. And maybe because I've developed that hypervigilance from trauma, I'm making sure that I'm giving my kids the awareness without that trauma that created mine. And safety doesn't mean sheltering, it means equipping them with the tools they need to succeed. I wish I could bubble wrap them. I've said this so many times, and I've jokingly said to my husband about, having my son be Bubble Boy, right? Like, remember that movie? And like wrapping them in and holding them tight. And we can't do that, but we can give them the tools to navigate the world with eyes wide open. We can do that. And your kids are growing up in a world that isn't always safe, right? This is reality. This is reality. We have to face it. We can't protect them from everything. But what we can do is teach them to protect themselves, not through fear, through awareness, through trusting their spidey senses, through knowing that if something feels off, they have permission to listen to that, even if it means being rude, right? Especially if it means being rude, teach them young. Normalize it and trust that the awareness you're giving them is one of the greatest gifts you'll ever offer to your children. I believe that to be wholeheartedly true. I practice that. There are times where I get nervous and I like freak out, and it wasn't the best modeling. I'm only human. I make mistakes, but I know at least I'm trying to do better, and I'm trying to do better for them, because what is the whole point of life? If we have children, we are to leave a legacy, leave something behind, give them the best world ever. That is our job as parents. Otherwise, why are we parents, right? Like, why did we procreate? Again, I'm very passionate about this, as y'all can already tell through most of my episodes. And yeah, I'll leave y'all with that. I hope I have given y'all some takeaways, some advice, some empowerment, some embracing that fire inside you. And with that, y'all, I bid y'all farewell. Till next time, this is Amber Vargas from Girl Pursuit. Take care.